I always wondered what my brother meant when he said, "Oh, I can get TM elsewhere. I don't need to get it from TM." So let's compare TM to religion. Religion, or let's start off first with God. God, there's no problem God setting up. A bridge has a link between two parties, or two entities, has two supports on either side. And there's no problem with the support of the linkage between God and man on God's side. The problem is on man's side, and God doesn't have anything to do with that because a relationship is a relationship. It takes two to tango to create a relationship. So it's not like God, why is God not helping us? Why did God allow the Nazis to do what they did? Oh, there must be no God because the Nazis got away with it. It has nothing to do with God, because God does tremendous amount from its side. It's our side that's missing, and a bridge needs two supports, without which it falls. It can't get by on one support alone. Yet we were brought into existence on a fledgling support of our own to start with. So we were started with something we didn't do to create. It got done for us, but if we want anything greater, we got to apply ourselves. So the old adage that morality has something to do with improving our link with God has something to do with the situation, because morality is service, right? What else is morality but service, altruism? And when we build up our side of the bridge, we're not being short-sighted, which is what selfishness amounts to. We're looking at the big picture, and we're not just asking for help from God, we're actually improving the bridge between us, so that when we do ask for help, we get results instead of crying out loud to the wind, "Why? I thought I was doing everything." Well, we weren't doing anything to improve our side of the link, of the bridge. Because one thing I noticed as a 19-year-old is that I was just being engulfed by love that was far superior, surpassing than any love I could offer in return. But I enjoyed the benefit of the recognition of being bathed in God's love only because I took the trouble to build up my side of the bridge so that I could appreciate what God had been doing all along. I just didn't have the appreciation to appreciate it. Now, it's not a question of philosophizing or entertaining a certain concept or faith. It really has to do with service. And what I was servicing, besides, what we do, we try to be good to each other and service each other instead of being merely self-centered and selfish. Servicing our side of existence is an act of prevention of suicide, because suicide, in a sense, is what everybody goes through when they die, because they don't outlive the death of their body. They die along with the death of their body. Maybe not all at once, as we've seen from people who come back from the dead and tell us what it's like, but eventually everybody dies, even in heaven. It's just done in a gradual way. The body goes first, and the mind goes last, before a new a link is created between the soul and another creature that's about to be born, another human creature, if we're talking about humans, that's about to be born to two human parents. So the soul is already outliving all these incarnations, but it too is limited to 777 incarnations. So in order to outlive any limitation, we have to build up our side of our link with God, namely our own existence, so that when death happens to the body, it's not like suicide to ourselves, because we didn't do anything to get swept along, so to speak, by the overwhelming influence of physical circumstances. And this, of course, goes against all physics, because physics says energy in, energy out, so, what can you expect? But they overlook the perpetuity of God, the infinity of God, and how God is bathing and feeding and nourishing all of creation and all of creatures in creation all the time, making them over-unity devices if they are receptive to that input. So the job of Transcendental Meditation is not to get results. I know, it's sold that way. It's sold on the premise that, oh, you're going to see results in your life. But that's not what it's designed to do. It's designed to strengthen our own existence by the time we spend in service devoted to just that alone and nothing else. That's why samadhi is simply an awareness all by itself alone with nothing else, because awareness is a wakeful state of existence. And that's why samadhi is called restful alertness, because you're not doing anything, you're not thinking anything, yet you are awake inside. And that's the state of mahasamadhi when the body dies, and you're left without thoughts of the body because you don't have a body to think thoughts with. You don't have a mind associated with the body to think thoughts with. And you just step aside. And you don't die because now you're totally identified with your own existence, and not identified with your mind or your emotions or your senses or your body, or the thoughts the mind can create, or memory, because that's all associated with the mind and the body and the feelings and whatnot. So it's good to know that Transcendental Meditation and religion don't overlap. Religion really lost the keys to deal with our own existence. Except morality, doing good deeds to others. There's nothing wrong with that, but it still doesn't reach the level of our existence, because grace is of different types depending on where we formulate it, where we execute it. And there's superficial grace on the gross level of physicality. And then there's the subtle grace of transcending, and everything else in between. All the different types of good actions that we can perform to create good results. But the most sublime is transcendental to the most sublime, namely infusing more existence into our existence. I know that sounds like a duplication of terms, like it's not saying anything. Well, I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. Because there's relative existence and there's absolute existence. And so we're infusing absolute existence into our relative existence. Okay, there we go. Yes, the court of New Jersey did not like the use of the word absolute. Can you stop using the word absolute? I guess the lawyers like always an angle around everything, and judges would agree, or lawyers, other lawyers, because that's their profession, is what angle can I see around this? Come on. There's no angle around absolute. Absolute's absolute. Okay. So if the Catholic Church ever got anything right, it would not be absolute hell or absolute heaven. It would simply be absolute existence, devoid of any qualification or attribute you can say. I mean, you'd be far better off saying what it is not and making sure your list of what it is not is infinitely long. It's not this, not that, not this, not that, not that, not this. And make sure you cover everything infinitely so. Okay, I want to make sure this is under 10 minutes, because I haven't verified my yoga channel yet. So I have another video to upload, but I first have to verify my channel. It's 28 minutes long. So this is a synopsis, so to speak, of what that other video is that I haven't been able to verify yet, because it takes so many phone numbers to do it. Oh my God. You got to have a lot of friends. That's for sure. We're willing to put up with you. Okay, 9 minutes. This is a good place to stop.